In 2023, I invested significantly in myself, in a coach that's 10 years younger than me, that's helping me as an entrepreneur, that's helping me as a content creator, that's helping me as a consultant, and that's Ryan Pineda. Ryan Pineda is based in Las Vegas, successful real estate entrepreneur, a successful coaching business, successful in a lot of different ventures that he's been involved in, and he's a guy that I was watching do things that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do to help more churches and more ministry leaders. And so what I want to do in this video is take some of my learnings that I believe come from Ryan Pineda and the work he does that I believe apply to pastors and the work that you do. And so I hope you'll find this video helpful. Let's learn from Ryan Pineda. Hey there, if we haven't met yet, I'm Neil Smith, your social media guide, and I help churches and ministries and organizations of all kinds maximize social media to accomplish their goals. And this video is going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to share some of my learnings from Ryan Pineda that I believe are helpful to you. And some of those are social media related, and a lot of those are not. But I believe that regardless, if you're a pastor or ministry leader, there are some incredible insights that we can gain from an entrepreneur like Ryan Pineda and how it applies to our churches and how we effectively lead. The first thing that I've learned from Ryan Pineda is he's willing to fail. And he talks about it all the time of like, look, I've had house flips that just didn't work out. It was okay. I was a part of a business of his where it's an Amazon business that I bought into and paid for, and it didn't go like he planned. And he then pivoted, and that didn't go real well either. And he was okay with the failure. He was hurt by it, he was saddened by it. He did everything he could to make things right, but he was willing to fail. He was willing to try something new and bring it to his followers and the people that trusted him. And I believe he did that. Even though he failed in that effort, he got up and he's kept going, and he's kept going to other business ventures. And as a client of his in that, the way he handled that has helped me to trust him even greater in the things that he's doing. And so I think good leaders have to take natural risks. And I believe the people that follow us are going to trust us more, because when we take risks, there are going to be times that we are going to fail. And if we always go the safe route, I think people don't often want to follow leaders that always play it safe. And so we've got to be willing to take risks. And Ryan Pineda has modeled that incredibly well, even when his risks don't always pan out, because they're not always going to. The second thing that I've learned from Ryan Pineda is his investment and priority of social media. He's essentially built most of his businesses now and his new businesses on the back of his social media presence. And so he has learned and seen the opportunity that comes with building a platform on social media. What he's actually learned is by building a personal platform on social media, it's helped his organizations grow effectively. And I think as pastors and church leaders, we have this tension of should I be on social media? Should just the church be on social media? I don't want to make it all about myself. But what Ryan has learned is that he doesn't have to make it all about himself. He can talk about the things his businesses do, but people connect to people more naturally than they connect to organizations. And so Ryan investing in his own social media brand and content development has helped his organizations grow much faster on the back of that social media presence. And so I think there's great learning to learn from how he is maximizing his personal brand to grow the organizations he leads, and how we might be able to, we don't maybe like using that word personal brand in ministry, but how we might be able to use our personal presence on social media to help accomplish the goals of our church and our ministries that we lead. The third thing that Ryan Pineda does, and I think that getting a look behind the curtain has helped, that he's not going to talk as much about, is he's hired great people and he's paid them well. When you talk to his team, you're like, man, how do you have all these great people working with you? Well, they want to work for Ryan, and not just because Ryan's a cool guy, but because Ryan's going to take care of him. And they know that he's going to pay them well. And in churches, so often we're like, well, if you're going to work for the church, you're almost going to sign up for just, borderline poverty. And that doesn't have to be the case. And I think nobody is working at the church to get rich, but I think to pay and compensate people well. And so to hire people and compensate them fairly and well, so that they're not constantly thinking about, am I going to need to find another job? Am I going to need to take on a side hustle? You know what? I think Ryan has a great model in place that he takes care of his people so they can focus on the work that they're doing, that they're very passionate about and excited to do. And the compensation, I think, is one of those things that just helps make it even easier for people to stay with Ryan long-term and continue to build a really strong leadership team. The fourth thing that Ryan does that I think is fascinating is it's integrating his hobbies or his primary hobby of golf into the work that he's doing. And so Ryan loves playing golf. And so one of the things he's done is every Friday, he has a thing where people can sign up and play golf with him. And so people are always looking to get time with Ryan, and that's sometimes hard for an entrepreneur to do. So he's like, hey, if I could take something that I already love doing and then just invite people to do it with me, and then they can ask me questions on the golf course, and doesn't take me away from my focus while I'm in the office, but it also isn't distracting from the hobby that I'm enjoying. And so he's kind of found a way to kind of take a passion and interest in golf and incorporate that into his work and into the coaching and consulting that he does. And so I had the privilege of going to Las Vegas and playing around at golf with Ryan, and it was incredibly valuable for me to pick his brain a little bit and get to know him on a more personal level through that experience, and even see him more up close from an engagement perspective and how he interacts with his team and with his people. And so it was a cool way to integrate that hobby into your passion. And so whatever that hobby might be, and I know golf is a hobby for many pastors, think about how you can incorporate your congregation, your community into that hobby, and kind of, intertwine those two things. I think you'll see a lot of fruitfulness from that effort. And the fifth thing and the last thing that I've watched with Ryan and gotten a front row seat for is he prioritizes his family over everything, and he's prioritizing his personal health significantly. And so the guy's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of businesses to lead, a lot of people to manage. And I think it could be easy to say, I'm going to kind of outsource my kids and my family, and I'm going to focus on what I'm really good at in growing these businesses, or I'll, my health, I'll deal with that later. And he's a young guy in his 30s as a significant leader with, running a probably 8-figure business or multiple 8-figure businesses. And so he's got a lot on his plate, and it's easy to not prioritize our health and definitely not prioritize our family. And those are huge mistakes that so many leaders make, and including in ministry. And we often will put ministry over our family, and that's a tremendous mistake. And I think Ryan is setting a great model for his team, and I believe he's setting a great model for other pastors and ministry leaders as well to, don't, if you're not prioritizing your family, you're not prioritizing your health, you're never going to be a great leader for your church. And so you've got to make those priorities a greater priority for your ministry to even be more effective and more fruitful. So Ryan, I just want to say to you, thank you for the investment you've put into me, and I hope pastors and ministry leaders, if you're not yet following Ryan Pineda, I want to encourage you to do that. I think you'll gain a lot from the content that he's putting out there, and I hope you learned from this video some insights into what I believe from other leaders that we can gain and apply to our leadership as ministry leaders. I'm so grateful for what you do, and so grateful for your ear to listen to me and what I have to say and to speak into your church and your ministry. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again on the next video.